Hey gals and guys, it is time to show you the last part of how this mask was made. If you like this mask and Overwatch cosplay and cosplay sculpting in general, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel and share this with any Overwatch fans. But now, it's time to paint.
And here we go. I'm Hayze, this is Armoured Brownies, and we're starting with a trimmed down and undercoated polyurethane mask. It's from mould made from the sculpt you saw in the last video. I will have a moulding video coming up soon, so stay tuned for the channel for that. But we just put down a layer of this buff titanium down first. I find it's the closest colour to get that kind of off-white bone effect. But because it's quite a light colour and it's going over a grey base coat, we have to add 2 layers to it, just to make sure it's nice and even. And when applying the 2 layers, you have to wait for the first layer to dry before you can put the second layer on. Otherwise, you're just moving about the first layer again, and that's not layering up paint or helping anyone. And if you're curious about the sort of resin I used to make this mask, it is an easy flow rotocast resin in an open face mould, much like my Kindred mask last month on this channel, and there should be links below to all of the materials I use in this video. And if you have any other questions about any of this process, do be sure to ask in the comments or over Facebook. Or catch me when I'm streaming, as this entire thing was done on stream. Here you can see a nice, even base coat. And now it's on to the airbrush stage. Here, we're actually just using a single pass with an airbrush to add some shading to it with a single colour, and it's this kind of burnt umber colour that we're just using to put some highlight underneath any ridges and around where any parts of the mask join each other. Anywhere where grime would build up or abrasion wouldn't happen. And also, we put it down in the deep recesses of the battle damage on his mask, or the channels that lead to the rivets on the top of the mask. And you can see me a couple of times just doing kind of, from a little bit of a distance, a shade from one angle, where I choose a side of the mask that I want to be a little bit darker than the other side of the mask, and that kind of puts shade and highlight on the entire mask. And then once this is all dried, you go over it with a very fine brush and just dry brush the highlighting parts of the mask just a little, which makes it look a touch more like bone. That is an incredibly quick and easy airbrush pass, and you can see the difference that makes to this mask. And now we move on to the black parts of the mask. Funnily enough, even though he is the edgelord shotgun wizard, there isn't much black in his mask. It's mostly quite light colours. However, we have to put down a layer of black before we colour in the metal parts of the sides, metal parts of the cheek plates. And like before, we have to wait for these black parts to dry before we can put the metal parts in. Otherwise, we're just going to be mixing in the metallic paint with the black paint in the base coat. You can see how neat the black paint is painted up against the white bits, but that's because when we were sculpting it, we put in a deep channel between the 2 sections. So we just ride the brush along that channel rather than having extreme brush control or anything fancy like that. We just let the actual sculpt of the mask do its work. And now we add our metallic paint. I'm using quite a dark metallic paint to go along with the dark metallic paint of Reaper. Even though we could use a brighter paint, watering down over the black would darken it, this is just good quality paint. So we're just going to put that on, and I try to paint it all in one direction so we get a kind of striation effect to it, because if you look at milled metal or worked metal, you'll see a lot of it has a grain to it where it's been worked over with tools. And we do very much a similar thing for the rivets on the top, relying on the fact that the rivets pop out of the top of the mask, giving us a nice area to paint and avoid touching the lower, lighter parts of the mask. You'll notice the entire mask is a little bit shiny, whereas this acrylic ink which has a little bit of a gloss to it. So we go over the entire thing with a matte varnish, which mattifies the whole thing and makes it look a lot more professional and brings it all together. There you go, the finished mask. That's how we got from a blank copy of Reaper's mask to a high quality painted version of his mask. And if you have any questions, please do ask. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hang around this channel because I have more Overwatch content coming soon. I have such plans. Thank you, and goodbye.